Namaste everyone and welcome to another session on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Today we will be researching chapter 5 verse 16 to 21 from my book A Seeker's Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I have put the links in the description. I request you to please buy the book and give me your feedback. Wisdom destroys ignorance of anyone, and the soul shines like the sun with highest knowledge. Now, what is the wisdom that Sri Krishna is talking about here? The wisdom that Sri Krishna is talking about here is Brahma Vidya, that is, knowledge of the Brahman. What is the source? What happens to the source? How does the source manifest? Why is it so important to understand? These are the questions that one needs to answer, because embedded within the question is the answer to that primordial question: who am I? Why am I alive? What is the purpose of life? And all these questions which have no real answers. So Sri Krishna says that this wisdom of Brahma Vidya will answer all questions and it will destroy the ignorance of the identity. Who am I? Why am I alive? What is the purpose of life? And once the person has got this knowledge, then the soul will shine like the sun. That is, what the person gets is Brahma Tejas. The person will get an effulgence which comes with the highest knowledge. Those with intellect absorbed in that, soul established in that, with focus on that, with that for the goal, go without return when wisdom removes all impurities. Let us first try and understand what he means by that. In Astika Dharma or Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, that which is popularly known as God in other religions is called Brahman. And here, that Brahman is asexual, it is neutral, and that is why it is called that or Tat. So, what he is saying is that when the intellect is completely immersed in the Brahman, when the soul or the Atman is established in the Brahman, when the complete focus or ekagrat is on the Brahman, and one lives with Brahman as the goal, they go without return when wisdom removes all impurities. And now, what is that impurity that he's talking about here? Ahankara, the sense of self, the establishment of the individual in the physical realm, the physical world, the attachment to various physical and temporary items, which is what Sri Krishna talks about. Cognize the difference between that which is temporary and that which is permanent. So, whenever we live in the world of Maya or that which is temporary, that becomes an impurity on our souls. And so we get separated from the Brahman. So he says that when the intellect is absorbed in that, when the soul gets established in that, the Brahman, when the focus is that, and when that is the goal, those people go to the point of no return. That is, they get merged with the Brahman. Because when you have no identity of the self, or when you don't have a physical construct of your own identity, when you have transcended that then you remove all impurities. That is, you have no further prarabdha karma. And that is what he's trying to say in this particular verse. In verse 18, he says, those endowed with knowledge and humility will view a Brahmana, cow, elephant, dog, or even an outcast and learned people with equal gaze, or sama-darshana. The minute one is merged in the Brahman, there is no differentiation, nothing else is there. Everything is permanent, the truth has been reached. So, such a person will not find any difference in any other commodity. It could be a car, it could be a phone, it could be anything. that person would view everything equally with what is called sama-drishti, gaze that is equal. He will treat everything equally and also with indifference. That is, there is no attachment. There is no attachment created when a person is merged in the Brahman. Thus, even when they conquer creation, by which inequality is established, the cognition remains spotless, and the equal Brahman is therefore established in Brahman. Thus, even when they conquer creation, by which inequality is established, how does inequality get established? When the I manifests. When the I manifests, because we have an insecurity of existence, we need confirmation of existence, we build relationships. But in those relationships, there is no equality because we always give a little more or get a little more, depending on which part of the give and take cycle we are in. When that happens, there is a debt that is created, and we begin to view each other differently. So, this is what he is saying. When you get merged with the Brahman, that is bypassed, that is completely transcended, and we begin to look at everything with samadrishti. That feeling of inequality is lost, and the cognition, the manas, remains spotless because the self is now merged with the Brahman. We become Brahman ourselves. So when we become Brahman ourselves, there is no further need to prove our own existence because we are completely secure in the understanding of who am I, why am I alive, and such existential questions. Importantly, one should not rejoice at obtaining a favorable outcome nor grieve when an unfavorable outcome. With steady intellect that is undiluted, one that has the knowledge of the Brahman gets established in the Brahman. This is more of an explanatory note. One should not really get too hassled by outcomes. Some of it will be good, some of it will not be good. But the minute you get pushed by like, dislike, good, bad, right, wrong, and such opinions or judgments, you will get trapped by the materiality of Maya, that which attaches us to all these physical objects. But when the intellect is steady, when the buddhi is sthiram means steady. When the intellect is able to discriminate between that which is temporary and that which is permanent, that which is paramartha satya and that which is Brahman, when that happens, then the individual's atma is completely merged with the Brahman. At that point, there is nothing further to be achieved, and the person is completely at peace with everything around him. Even though the person may be acting, the act does not impact the person because he's viewing or she's viewing everything without any discrimination. Verse 21. The detached soul, when dealing with external contacts, finds within the self that infinite happiness as one that has merged with the Brahman enjoys. What is it? What is a detached soul? The minute you begin to view everything equally, that will happen only when you recognize that all this is temporary. This is not permanent. So, when you look at everything equally in a non judgmental manner, without duality of good, bad, right, and wrong, and things like that, then what happens is you become detached. You get what is called vairagyam. When you're dealing with all objects without that attachment, then you begin to get merged with the Brahman and you get an incredible happiness that anyone who has merged with the Brahman enjoys. This is called Anandam. This Anandam has been described by many of Bharat's great saints and great philosophers. And they have also said that this is the purpose of living, of life. So, this is what Sri Krishna is also saying, that stop getting trapped by these temporary relationships that you have and transcend this, try to transcend the physicality or the materiality of existence and look beyond. Go beyond the material body or the Annamaya Kosha. Go beyond the pranamaya kosha. Go beyond the manamaya kosha. That's what he's been talking about here. Make the manas or the cognition calm and make it such that it is not discriminating anything. When you go beyond the manomaya kosha, you finally come to the vijnanamaya kosha, where you are looking at constructs, processes, scientific evidence, and things like that. All those things tie you to a physical relationship. When you are able to transcend that also, all logic, when you are able to transcend logic, then you begin to slowly settle down and merge with the Brahman. When you go past these relationships, you are secure within the Brahman, and that is when he says, the detached soul, when dealing with external objects, finds within the self that infinite happiness as one that has merged with the Brahman enjoys. Yoga is the movement of the cognition from turbulence to stillness, from cacophony to silence, from sense of doership or ahankara to inertness. And this is what Sri Krishna has been talking about in these 6 verses. Thank you for watching. Do like, share, and subscribe. For more information, please visit www.schoolofyoga.in